that's the risk we took. Pedal to the metal, we've got the throttle down. RTG rolling into your town. Smooth shifting, no lifting, we're not backing down. RTG, the best drivers around. No drama, race tough, keep it clean to the end, might be enough. White flag, checker flies, out here with our friends living our best lives. Pedal to the metal, we've got the throttle down. RTG rolling into your town. Smooth shifting, no lifting, we're not backing down. RTG, the best drivers around. Race tough, keep it clean to the end, might be enough. White flag, checker flies, out here with our friends living our best lives. Pedal to the metal, we've got the throttle down. RTG rolling into your town. Smooth shifting, no lifting, we're not backing down. RTG, the best drivers around. Pedal to the metal, we've got the throttle down. RTG rolling into your town. RTG, the best drivers around. Green flag, let's go. Come on, boys, it's time to put on a show. Caution's out, oh no, to the back of the pack is where we go. Slide jobs, slide ways is how we like to spend most of our days. Bump draft, bumper hook, we knew going in that's the risk we took. Pedal to the metal, we've got the throttle down. RTG rolling into your town. Smooth shifting, no lifting, we're not backing down. RTG, the best drivers around. No drama, race tough, keep it clean to the end, might be enough. White flag, checker flies, out here with our friends living.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Flatout Racing Network's coverage of the 67th season of the Rolling Thunder Gaming Aero88 series. This is race number 4 of their currently underway season and their first and only road course stop of the year as they get ready to take to the streets of Chicago. I'm Seth Cole alongside of Jack Mitchell. And Jack, what an interesting venue here. We obviously found out during the 2025 to 2026 offseason that NASCAR itself would not be returning to this street course. However, that didn't stop the RTG drivers from getting ready to take the streets of the Windy City.
No, it did not. Obviously, the Chicago street course, one of the more unique circuits that you'll find in NASCAR over the last few years. Obviously not coming back here this current season, but everybody going to be looking forward to trying to give it a shot here tonight.
12 treacherous corners. A lot of these corners have a tire barrier waiting to eat up your race car. Not exactly the widest of racetracks either, so passing may not necessarily be a premium option for these drivers. I think tonight more so, especially the first half of this race, before we even have the pay window open, it's going to be race and survive the racetrack itself.
Yeah, that might be the case. I mean, that was something that you and I talked about when we were calling the second half of the Aero88 season last season, was about a lot of drivers having to kind of either fight their own cars or fight the racetrack. I think fight the racetrack is really going to be the name of the game. Survival is going to be everything, especially with how narrow it is. There are some really long straightaways and then some sharp turns that can catch you off guard.
Early going of the season, points are still awfully close. As mentioned, this is race number 4, so 3 races already under their belts. Some treacherous racetracks already in the rearview mirror, including Atlanta, Bristol, and Kitchen Creek Superspeedway. Jeremy Jeffries has claimed 2 of those checkered flags. Jim Glaude has claimed the other. Jeremy, by virtue of the 2 victories, he comes into this race currently sitting the points leader, 20 points over Grant Wesley, another 24 points back to John Godfrey. Jeff Supta, the defending champion of the series, currently 4th in points, 26 points back. Jim Glaude, former winner, currently sits 5th in the point standings. Remember back last season, you alluded to us calling the second half of the season, and we ended up seeing a great battle between Jeff Supta and Grant Wesley at that road course, but neither one of them are on the pole here tonight. A little fly in the ointment, if you will. Sean Prime has entered his name into the conversation, so we're going to have to see if everyone's going to be chasing driver number 15.
Very well could. I almost find it kind of fitting that both Grant and Jeff, after that ridiculous points battle last season, they're both in the top 4, but Jeremy Jeffries, he was kind of right there last season as well. He was kind of that, I want to say 3rd place driver. I don't exactly remember, but he was very much in the mix. He won a race late, so Jeremy Jeffries looking to try and capitalize on this early season momentum. He could do so if he gets a win here tonight.
8 drivers going to take the green flag here tonight. I think we had upwards of 10 drivers that set down some qualifying or some practice laps, but only 8 are going to take the green here tonight. 35 laps will be the total distance here this evening, and much like it was last season, entirely different rules when it comes to caution flags falling at a road course as opposed to a speedway. We're only guaranteed 1 yellow flag here tonight. That will be known as the competition caution. That will fly at the completion of lap 8 coming onto lap 9. The next time by, leaders come down pit road, take on service. Everybody will follow them down. Then the race leader will maintain 40 miles per hour the remainder of the lap. They'll go green the following lap. So with the fact that you really only have 1 opportunity for reprieve, a little relaxation, a little let up before going right back to work, that's an awful lot of laps these guys are going to have to deal with after that competition yellow.
Almost reminds you of a Formula One race in a sense. You only have to really make 1 pit stop during those races, and not going to be a whole lot of time here before we take the green flag either.
There you go. Green flag is in the air. We're racing in the streets of Chicago. Sean Prime going to switch from drivers left to drivers right to get that easier access into the first left-hand corner. Some contact there. Little argy-bargy for second place.
That's what these sharp turns can do. Contact will be made. These really sharp, narrow turns. I mean, this restart here, this first lap where all the cars are going to be as close together as they are right now is going to be the key lap here, because any contact can kind of wad up the track and make it difficult for everybody to pass.
Prime gets away with the lead. Jim Glaude muscled his way to second. This is the battle nose to tail, bumper to bumper for third. Jeff Supta looking back to 2-time winner Jeremy Jeffries, and then just behind them you've got Grant Wesley, who rolled off the starting lineup from the 7th position. Didn't lay down a very good qualifying lap and is going to have to pass quite a number of cars to make his way up here to the front of the field.
How much you have to slow down after making that tight corner, and then there's another one just after that.
And you saw it right there. So it was souped up ahead right there with Jeremy Jeffries. Kind of puts me in mind of that road course race we called last season. These cars, they are drifting around a number of these corners here.
I feel like a lot of these drivers might be maybe not necessarily doing exactly what Ross Chastain did, but they're using the wall, it looks like, to at least get their cars pointed fully in the right direction and then trying to find the run as they get into the long straightaways. And here we go. Grant Wesley going to fly right by Jeremy Jeffries.
Looks like Jeremy may have lifted a little early, gave up that spot to the faster 88. Ooh, one just pounded the wall back there. A couple did. Cy Jones and now Bobby Farrell stuck in the tire barriers there entering into turn 1. And he's going to have to call a tow back to pit lane. Now, with that being just past the start-finish line, I think that's going to be a rather lengthy stay on pit road for the Petty Blue 92. Not exactly certain how long that equals out to. I know it's somewhere in the region of 2 minutes plus, and so that's more than likely going to lose Bobby Farrell a lap. Plus, you got to account the amount of time it'll take for them to repair that right side damage created by that tire barrier.
This part of the track right here, I think it scares me the most because you have to make that first sharp turn and then there's another one right here.
And much like at any road course, kind of almost similar to, I guess we could equate it to the S's at Sonoma or the S's at Watkins Glen. How you enter or exit one corner is really going to determine the path that you have through the corresponding corners afterwards.
Absolutely. They run a bit tight when they get into the corner, and then this next one, they run a little bit wide once you get into that straightaway part. These straightaway portions are long, so if you're going to see any passing here, more than likely it's going to come because somebody else made a mistake, and then it's going to come on one of these longer straightaway sections of the track.
Jim Glaude's done a good job of staying right there with Sean Prime. Been about maybe four to 5 car length separation between those two here. These first 2 completed laps, now on to lap 3. Of course, Jim, a former winner this season at the short track, the concrete half-mile Bristol Motor Speedway. Currently sits 5th in the point standings, 28 points out. Would like to join Jeremy Jeffries in the early going of this season as a multi-time winner, as nearly scraped off the left side paint on the wall, and then you saw that left front tire come up off the ground in that semicircular left-hand corner.
This part of the track as well, it could be a little bit tricky because there's a slight uphill and then downhill part when you go over that bridge. It's the final straightaway section before the start-finish line.
Riding on board with Jim Glaude, let him take us around this racetrack for a lap. Down into turn 1. 90-degree corners here at the Chicago Street Course. Down to that low first gear in preparation for the right-hand turn onto South Lakeshore Drive. And about a 45-degree right-hand turn here before you hit the straight into the heavy braking zone of turn 4 into turn 5 on East Roosevelt Road. Then back onto South Columbus Drive for the long straight down into one of the 2 heaviest braking zones on this road course, that pivotal 90-degree left-hand turn 6. Again, down to first gear. You hear the wheel spin, trying to get the power down. Onto East Balbo Drive. Right-hand corner as they'll now make their way through the fountain section, that East Congress Plaza Drive. Combination of 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 for the corners, before eventually making their way back up here to the right-hander onto East Jackson Drive. Head for turn 12 and turn towards the start-finish line for home. Takes them a little under a minute and a half to complete a lap, but you can see there is so much work that goes into just completing that one lap by itself, and they have to do it a total of 35 times here tonight.
Nice little tour of Grant Park in Chicago right there. Pretty hard-working drive, though, as you said. I mean, I got respect for anybody who's able to try and pull this thing off here, because you got to do that usually, for the most part. I mean, there's not really a whole lot of cars in this race, but for the most part, a lot of times you're going to see a lot of traffic in the way. I mean, our closest battle is for the lead right now. I think the pressure gets amped up a lot more, though, when you're in one of these battles, when you're fighting for position. Difficult enough as it is without another car right next to you.
Well, that battle for the lead may double in size, because that last time by, Jeff Supta just ran his fastest lap of the race, 128.330, fastest lap that previous time by, and overall in the race, Grant Wesley at a 128.309. So third and fourth place, they are chipping away little by little. They are reeling in the top two. And let's also remember as well, with where they're running, we're going to have that competition caution coming out here in a little over 3 laps. They'll all be bunched up again when we get ready for that restart.
And some of these drivers that are not in this battle up front here might just think about trying to hold position, as we talked about pre-race, just trying to survive, at least make it as clean as you possibly can to that competition yellow. Then once you're there, that might need to be the chance you take to make your move.
It is moderate damage here tonight, but really moderate or realistic damage. Those tire barriers are devastating. And we saw earlier on Bobby Farrell into the tire barriers at the entrance of turn 1. Teleported to pit road. They try to do some repairs on his machine, but it looks like they have pushed him back behind the wall. He'll get credited for 8th position here tonight. I believe he, Cy Jones, and John Godfrey. I might be incorrect on John Godfrey, but I know that Cy Jones, Bobby Farrell, they of course are in the Challenger series here on Wednesday nights. The Bob Dixon Challenger Championship, now what it's named here this season in memory of Bob Dixon. And right now, I'll double check and see, but if Godfrey is not one of the Challenger drivers this season, then right there, I believe that would give Cy Jones the Challenger win here tonight, as he still remains on the racetrack, last car running in 7th place.
I've got it up on another monitor right here. John Godfrey is listed in the overall points. I don't think I see him in the Challenger points.
Okay, so there you go. So that, I believe, would confirm Cy Jones with the Challenger win here tonight, regardless of if he makes it to the finish or not. For those that were familiar with our broadcasts last season, remember Jeff Supta running a David Cannon tribute race car, and probably looking at this paint scheme. Whoa!
Oh boy!
Cloud got the right side of his race car. Whoa! That was treacherous. I don't think he could have fit a sheet of paper between him and that tire barrier there. I believe that was off of turn 5. Oh, and now he's gonna loop it.
Oh, look out!
Saved it though.
That could have been a lot worse.
Certainly could have. Grant Wesley's going to get by him for 3rd, but Jim Glaude's starting to drop back. I was going to mention about Jeff Supta. I'd be looking at this paint scheme thinking, man, this looks awfully different. There is a story behind this. This is actually a throwback to an actual race car that Jeff Supta raced in 1996 and 1997 at Riverside Park Speedway. So throwing it back to a car that actually has had racing experience and now piloting it here on the streets of Chicago.
There you go.
It's got a phone number on there. I was kind of tempted to see if that line was still in service or not, but I didn't do it.
Kind of difficult to read from this angle. Definitely that mint green on that car is very noticeable. They're currently running in 2nd place, trying to chase down Sean Prime at the race lead. He's actually gaining a little bit through this straightaway here.
And you notice we're on lap 8. When we get to the completion here, we will have a full course yellow. Drivers will come down pit lane, take on service, and then pace until the start-finish line for the restart. So this is essentially the battle here to be able to lead the field after the competition caution, and it is closed up amongst Prime, Supta, and Wesley.
Yeah, just because there's not a whole lot of cars in this race doesn't mean there can't be some tense battles for the lead here. The closer this top 3 get, I think this is going to potentially come down to the wire if they keep it as close as they are right now. And provided, of course, they don't make any mistakes over the course of this the rest of this stint before the competition yellow. You saw what happened earlier.
Out of the final corner. Lap 8 will be completed, so there you go. We'll have full course yellow this time by. They will hit pit road the next time they come around. Out of the exit of turn 12. And get themselves racked up here for what is going to be the only restart of this race. I guarantee you that it's going to be 4 tires and fuel for everybody, because it is 3x wear here tonight at this road course. So that, for people that don't understand what that means it's 3 times the normal fuel consumption, 3 times the normal tire wear, and with the tracks that we see laid down here in these, I guess we'll call them drift corners, that is a lot of tire wear that these drivers are having to deal with over the course of a run.
Absolutely. You're going to want to make sure that you really get everything you possibly can in a pit stop. And some drivers, you never know how much damage they might have taken. I know it's only moderate damage, but you never know how many bumps or things like that they took when they bounced off the walls repeatedly in this track. So I have to wonder if that would also factor in the time spent on pit road.
This time around, you'll see the leaders hitting the pit lane. The entire field will be coming down pit road this time, all bunching back up together in preparation for the restarts. Well, we're going to be bringing you coverage of quite a number of races across numerous series for Rolling Thunder Gaming during the course of the next few months, all the way up into April. Next time you'll be seeing us, won't have to wait long. Next Monday, February 2nd, we'll be bringing you coverage of the Bare Bones Racing Series as they get ready for a little Midwestern battling at the Iowa Speedway. Jeremy Jeffries currently leading the point standings over in that series. 2-time winner on the season. Grant Wesley, Jeff Supta, Dave Melson, Denny Carroll, all in the hunt as they begin the early portions of their 67th season. Be sure to join us for that one, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time next Monday night here on FRN. Of course, as well, tomorrow night, join us here not only on FRN, but the simulcasting with Tarnation TV, as we will be continuing on what has been an incredible season so far in the RTG Talladega Challenge Series. 3 races, 3 different drivers have gone to victory lane. There have been incredible strategy finishes, and we are nearing the halfway point of the regular season where drivers are going to have to start making some preparations towards the postseason. That'll be tomorrow night, simulcasted here on FRN, as well as Tarnation TV, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard start time. So this cautioned a big opportunity for a number of drivers that had kind of lost touch with the leaders. John Godfrey, Cy Jones, they'll be able to catch up here. Jim Glaude, you see him, there is some back-end damage on the 72. When we saw him have his couple of moments from turn 5 all the way down to turn 6, didn't look like he made contact with anything. He may have had another adventure prior to the full course yellow coming out, and you can see he's sporting that back end damage there on the mellow yellow machine.
Yeah, that's a bit of an interesting observation there, because when we saw him have his moment, he just barely managed to keep it out of that tire barrier. It was really close, but he managed to bring it to a halt. Not really sure what could have happened. Maybe contact either on pit road, maybe getting back to pit road. It's like, if anything, it looks like he got rear-ended by something.
And it also appears that during the round of pit stops, the points leader, one of Jeremy Jeffries, may have been issued a black flag, so he has subsequently dropped to the tail end of the field for this upcoming restart. Well, we've had our one guaranteed yellow of the night. Now it's 25 laps of execution to perfection. We're more than likely going to see another pit stop between now and the finish of this race. Who is going to come out on top here at the Chicago Street Course? Sean Prime lines up the leader. Grant Wesley in second. Jeff Zupto will be third, with Jim Glaude in fourth. John Godfrey going to complete the top five. And then the remaining drivers will be Cy Jones and Jeremy Jeffries. 7 drivers left of the 8 that took the green. Only driver out of the race, Bobby Farrell. And Prime, who has led every lap so far here tonight, would love to lead the rest as he'll bring us down here into the restart zone. I believe it's the start-finish line where they actually will officially go green. And here we go. We're back underway.
A little bit of separation between Wesley and Supta on that restart. Prime is going to have a bit of an edge as there's somebody hit the wall in the back of the field.
I think that was John Godfrey in the 7-11. So he'll give way to Jeremy Jeffries heading down into 2. So I'm not 100% certain what the fuel window is for these drivers, as my goodness, Grant drove it deep there and almost was into the back of Sean Prime as they went into 4.
Almost into the wall, too.
But I'm not necessarily, well, I was going to say I'm not necessarily certain that fuel is the deciding factor into when these drivers pit. The tires very well might be, but you know, when we talk about road courses and tires, it's all about tire temperature as to how deep you're going to be able to drive into a corner, how soon you're going to be able to get back to the throttle. And for these drivers here, obviously all up here towards the front trying to match, if not exceed, what the driver in front or behind them is doing to make up or to put distance between the rest of your competition. It may make things interesting here the longer the run goes on. I go back to the struggles we saw Jim Glaude having at the latter half of that run, and I almost wonder if he used up all the good in those good years.
Definitely worth wondering. I mean, that's something that you know, I'm really interested to see if that maybe happens to the race leaders, especially Sean Prime. I mean, you're out in front, you're working harder than anybody else to maintain the lead. I kind of wonder if that's doing a number on his tires as we speak. He also hit the wall a little bit earlier in that last lap, but Wesley, he drew a little bit closer, not quite able to make the pass yet, though.
Sean on a part-time schedule, it would appear. His second start of the season, ran the opener at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Qualified 7th, brought it home on the podium in 3rd. Oh, you saw that lockup there on the entry of turn 6 and made some contact with the wall.
Oh, still barely able to keep ahead of Grant Wesley. Wesley got really lucky there. He was involved in not only having to try to make a pass, but also defend his position because Jeff Supta was right behind him.
As well as Jim Glaude, throw a blanket really over the top 4. Jeremy Jeffries trying to stay in touch with the top quartet.
Those are the corners that really just take your breath away at this racetrack. You cannot make a mistake whatsoever when you're making those sharp turns. You're hard on the brakes there. You hold on to the brake for just even a little bit too long, your car's going into the wall.
And I've got only a limited amount of experience at this racetrack, but I can guarantee you these corners, they are deceptive. You think when you're through the center of the corner, okay, surely I can mash the throttle down now and the car will turn. Not the case. It's almost like the thing just wants to go straight. It is all about setting up the entry to the corner to determine when or if you can get back to the throttle. Supta's around.
Oh boy.
And I wonder if there might have been some contact. You saw Jim Glaude come to a stop. Now, granted, the track was kind of blockaded, so he may not have had a choice, but there might have been contact between the two and the gentleman's agreement coming into play. We'll drop back and take a look at a replay here as this was exiting out of turn 5.
This is something that I talked about earlier at this track with how tight and narrow the straightaways and even some of the corners are. All it takes is one car going around to wad up the racetrack, and didn't quite wad up the racetrack, but it definitely slowed down everybody.
Saw Jim stop after Supta was spun. Gave him the time to recover, get his car turned back around, did not advance his position. That's what's referred to as the gentleman's rule, and that avoids you from suffering a post-race EOL, but that changes the landscape now of the top 5, because now Jeremy Jeffries, who we saw have a slick move past those drivers in a very tight corner of the racetrack as well, now moves up into the 3rd position. Look how far back he is from the top 2, and then in relation how far back now Supta and Gloud are from 3rd place.
One mistake by one driver can be all it really takes to shuffle the pecking order here at this track. And I mean, I don't necessarily want to write off Jeremy Jeffries, but he definitely has the ways to go to try to make up for, trying to catch up to these top 2 here. And I mean, if they make a mistake battling each other, that could open the door for him. So definitely don't count out the one car.
Yeah, that's option C, is hope that the drivers ahead make mistakes for you to close up. The other 2 options are, 1, make sure that you maintain a good sense of pace to either maintain or close up the distance with what you've got available to you. The other thing potentially could be pit road strategy.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up as well. Maybe he waits a little bit longer, maybe a lap extra to go to pit road. I mean, this isn't like most normal pit roads here at Chicago. You can, I mean, when you go to pit road, you spend a lot of time there, and drivers can definitely make up a lot of ground by staying out an extra lap.
Riding on board with Grant Wesley in the 2nd position. Remember, he had to roll off the grid from 7th place, did not have an optimal Q lap. I believe that the qualifying lap was in the high 120s. Grant clocked in at a 1 minute 47 second lap time. He's done a good job of working his way forward, and only one more spot to beat before he gets that clean air.
I feel like that was kind of Grant's MO last season, keeping the pressure on. He's doing that right now to Sean Prime. Did that in the points standings last season, and so far it looks like he's doing it this season as well.
Look at the steering wheel motion as they make their way through these corners. It's almost like they're dirt tracking rather than road course racing, just the back forth, just trying to get the grip in the rear tires to bite off the corner, or making sure that the nose gets pointed on exit.
Certainly feels that way. I mean, you see the way that the cars have been turning, and some of their tires have been getting airborne too in some of these turns. Oh boy, I think he almost made contact with the rear of Sean Prime.
Left front completely off the ground right there, exiting out of the fountain section. Shows the nose there going into 12.
Oh boy.
You want to be careful there. Austin Dillon learned the hard way if you cut that corner.
Grant might have learned the hard way in this battle too. He lost a little bit of ground there, but...
Oh!
Oh!
That's a big hit right there. I don't think he got the tires, but the concrete's not much better.
I'll put it this way, you don't want to get any part of the wall.
See if we can get a view of the right side of that machine. I'd be shocked if he didn't sustain some type of damage. Yeah, it looks like it's pretty crumpled up on the right side. And now you kind of have to go through a period of evaluation if you've hit the wall like Grant just did. First off, you got to figure out, did that hurt my pace for the remainder of the run? And secondly, you got to make the decision of, do I want to spend a few extra precious seconds on pit road during the upcoming pit stop repairing that damage, or do I just leave it alone?
I almost wonder, maybe do you just bite the bullet now? Maybe does that change your strategy up a little bit? Maybe you decide, I'll come on the pit road early and then just hope for the best, and then kind of force other people as well to think about going to pit road early.
John Godfrey right now in the 6th position. You know, when you come to a road course, you've got really 3 schools of thought. You got those drivers that absolutely love the road courses. They've got this date circled on their calendar. You got other drivers that they got a love-hate relationship with road courses. You know, it's like, I'll show up and race, have some fun, see what I can do. Maybe I can get up there and battle with the big guns and maybe on strategy, be able to pick up a victory. And then you got the drivers here like John Godfrey, Cy Jones, and I absolutely fit into this category as well. You show up to survive. Godfrey's had an incredible start to the season. So far, been able to maintain third position in the point standings here tonight. He's here to run all the laps, get all the points he possibly can, and then just build off of that next week. He's probably very happy this is the only road course on the schedule this season.
That would definitely feel good. I mean, I absolutely would fit into this category if I was racing as well. I would basically say, look, I'm here to just get whatever points I can salvage out of this race. I'm probably going to have a day like this. That's just going to be it. You bite the bullet and you move on.
You saw Cy Jones there. He's 13th in points. And granted, he's the last car running, but a top 10 is a top 10. And at the conclusion of the night, he'll have scored his first top 10 on the season. So well done to him. And as we mentioned, he, of course, is going to wrap up the Challenger win here tonight as well.
Grant Wesley, I'll tell you what, he has not necessarily slowed down that much from that damage. Yes, it hurt, as you see the one of Jeremy Jeffries has made his way to pit road. But Wesley definitely hasn't backed down from this.
Heading from the third position is Jeremy. And I don't think this is regularly scheduled.
I don't either.
They're not servicing the race car. Let's see if maybe he had a moment here. Oh my!
What in the world?
I think a moment is the understatement of the night. Oh, that wall!
Oh.
It's bright yellow for a reason, but it's so tough to not get close to it when you're exiting off the corner because it's such a sharp right-hand turn, and you saw him get launched back into Jeff Zupta, who then in turn was up on the tire barriers. Oh, there's just nowhere to go. There's nothing you can do.
No, there's not. That's just one of those unfortunate moments that can happen with those tight corners. And I mean, like you said, nothing he could do. And wrong place, wrong time there for Jeff Zupta. I don't know. I was not expecting, of all the things to see at the Chicago Street Course, I was not expecting to see a car upside down.
That is a tough break there for two drivers that were running at the time in the third and fourth positions. Here comes second place Grant Wesley onto pit road, and this will be very interesting. Looks like they actually are servicing Jeremy's car, so he'll get back out there and salvage what he can. Going to be very interested to see here when Grant comes off pit road if that right side damage will be repaired or not. Here comes Zupta down to the attention of his crew.
Like a pretty normal four-tire stop to me.
And that right side damage remains, so apparently he felt that didn't really affect the pace of his race car.
I mean, I did notice that as he was getting later in that run, he was gaining on Sean Prime again, so I guess he decided that damage was a temporary setback, if anything, but it's not one that's going to keep him out of the fight, assuming that he and Sean Prime end up getting closer to one another again.
So we went back green at the completion of lap 9. Number of our leaders here coming down pit road, though granted a couple of them out of necessity with what we just saw occur with that massive impact into not only the concrete Armco barrier, but the tire barrier as well over in turn 7. But Grant from second, now Sean Prime from the lead coming down pit road here. So about 10 laps it looks like they're able to go on this run, which means I thought that maybe they'd be able to go one stop to the finish once we went back green. No, it looks like it might be a two-stop race to the checkered flag.
Very well could be. I mean, as you said, some of those stops were ultimately out of necessity. You saw that massive incident we had earlier.
That was a pass for the lead right there. It'll take obviously a while for the ticker to update it as Sean Prime crossed the start-finish line on pit lane. Jim Gloud goes on by here, though he crossed the stripe in second. pretty sure that everyone's pit stall is down past the start-finish line, so even if Gloud decides to pit at the completion of this lap, he should cross the start-finish line P1 and pick up a valuable bonus point for leading the lap.
Every point matters, and you talked about it earlier. That's why some drivers like to just show up to these road course races, even if they know they're not going to compete for the win. They know they're not going to do well. Every single last point can make a difference between the championship or not.
And maybe more so in this series than any of the other series, because the other series, Thursday night, Monday night, they implement a playoff system. They have a win in your in system where, you know, consistency certainly is important, but a lot more emphasis on victories. Here on Wednesday nights, it is the classic point system. It is all about consistency, and to your point, what may seem like a disappointing 5th or 6th place finish tonight could pay out huge dividends into what position you're battling at the end of the season, maybe for a championship, maybe for top 5, top 10 in overall standings. You never know.
It could be a big boost for some of these drivers in the points as well. And for this race in particular, there were only 8 drivers that started the race, and I mean, you know, typically we're seeing about 20-ish drivers running in the field most weeks at most oval tracks and things like that. So I think, you know, look at it this way. If you finish 8th, 7th, 6th in this race, it's probably, you know, it might feel bad because you're near the back of the field in this one, but you're still actually getting 6th place, 7th place, 8th place points. Those are not bad points days.
Especially this early on in the season when the points are as close as they are. This potentially may be the battle for the race lead, depending on how speedy the pit stop is for Jim Gloud. Sean Prime, Grant Wesley, still together. Jeremy Jeffries there behind him, though Jeremy, after that lengthy stay on pit road, after having to call the tow back to pit lane when he was upside down over there in turn 7, he is currently a lap down in the 7th position.
Oh boy. Jeffries into the wall there. Keeps it going though.
How scared do you think he's going to be every time he goes into turn 7 now after what he just experienced?
He is going to take it as easy as he possibly can every time he sees that bright yellow section on the wall. He didn't take it very easy there.
Nope. I'll tell you one thing I wish we had. I know how, I think it's iRacing when they had the Coke series, they were able to have those, like, cameras showing what the drivers are dealing with. I want to see just how much these drivers are yanking on the wheels as they're going through East Congress Plaza Drive, because I almost feel like maybe their entire sim rig may be tilting to the left.
It feels that way. It feels like my I can tell you my entire desk would be shaking right now if I had a wheel and I was jerking it back and forth on those turns.
My wheel, the clamps would have come off by now.
Yeah.
Prime has cycled back up to the lead. Wesley right there with him in 2nd. Jim Gloud now currently in the 3rd position, all by his lonesome. Jeff Supta currently in 4th place. Gonna keep an eye on his lap times here. He took a pretty big shot there when he got into the back of Jeremy Jeffries. Got flung up onto the tire barrier. You can still see he's got some left side damage there, and I don't know if that is going to hurt the overall pace. You certainly got to wonder about damage around the front end of the race car where the engine is compartmentalized. I think he's still waiting to get onto his up-to-speed lap here. Last time by, he was about 7/10 off of his fastest lap. And a lot of people might think, well, you know, engine damage, aero damage, it's a road course. That's not really going to hurt things, right? Got to remember, we've got 4 very long straightaways here, so straight line speed is very, very important.
Absolutely. I mean, that's probably your best chance to try and pass somebody for position. You can definitely gain in the corners a little bit too, but you're more likely going to make a pass if you have a faster run out of one of those corners. You can catch up to somebody on those long straightaway sections.
They are going to catch up to the Sunoco number 7 machine of Cy Jones. Looks like they're going to catch him here out of turn 5, making the way down to turn 6. That's another thing about this racetrack. We talk about how narrow it is. It's tough enough for drivers to pass each other for position. It's also equally tough when you're a slower machine to be able to get out of the way of the faster leaders. As Sean Prime, you heard the tires squeal. He's been having a couple of times he's had issues there with the entrance into turn 6.
He has, and that one might cost him actually, because Grant Wesley, on the other hand, he sent it into that corner. He didn't really have to be careful about the lap traffic, and he gained a lot on Sean Prine. Now he's right on his back bumper trying to take the race lead away. Oh boy.
You saw that counter steer there. He was headed for the wall that Jeremy Jeffries hit not too long ago.
That yellow wall is terrifying.
Both these drivers looking to join Jeremy Jeffries and Jim Glaude as a winner on Wednesday nights here in season 67. Prime, as we mentioned, one previous start where he brought it home in the 3rd position. Grant Wesley, who sits 2nd in points, his best finish so far this season was a runner-up to Jim Glaude at the last Great Coliseum in Bristol, Tennessee. It's incredible to me. You look at the diversity of the schedules and a different type of artistry that these drivers have to have depending on the configuration of the tracks they go to. I think one of the biggest telltale signs is the speeds that they're able to carry on average. You go back to Atlanta, we're talking about the upwards 170 mile per hour range. Bristol, we're lucky if we break just a little over 120 miles per hour average speeds. They're going to make their way around John Godfrey. Last week, the Super Speedway at Kitchen Creek, they were almost reaching an average speed of 185 miles per hour single car speed. Here tonight at this road course, fastest lap of the race is an 87.888. We're only talking about a tick under 90 miles per hour on average.
You mentioned diversity in the schedule. I think there's kind of some artistry to winning a race like this as well. You know, you're dealing with the road course more than you're dealing with other drivers. I feel like it takes a different kind of skill to be able to win that. And the drivers that are able to win this type of race, they're really displaying their kind of adaptability. Their flexibility is on full display right now. And you're seeing it with Sean Prime. You're seeing it with Grant Wesley. Different type of racetrack. Not as much traffic surrounding them. And they are out here battling really tightly for the lead. I think really unique artistry that it's a winning this race.
7 drivers still running, with Godfrey going a lap down moments ago. 4 drivers on the lead lap. And your top 2 continue to battle less than a car length separation around these 12 corners in downtown Chicago, Illinois. Going to be a little bit more normality, I guess you could say, in terms of speedway racing for these drivers starting next week, as they'll be at the Monster Mile in Dover, Delaware. Gateway waiting in the wings, along with some Midwestern battling in Kansas. Minnesota Motorsports Park, Michigan as well. Texas Night. They do have another super speedway on tap as well in March, as they'll be at the high banks of Daytona, and there you go. So this is interesting because we kind of figured that the fuel window was about 10 laps. Grant, Sean Prime, everybody came to pit road at the end of the fuel window last time. Grant's coming down at the start of the fuel window this time at 10 to go.
He's trying to play a bit of a different hand here as he tries to battle for this race lead. Could not get around the 15 of Sean Prime, so maybe he figures pit strategy will be the key to doing it this time.
This is a battle for position right here. A couple of drivers a lap down. 5th place under contest. And Jeremy Jeffries is going to make his way by Cy Jones to move back up into the top 5. That is certainly not what we expected to see when we saw him turtled over there in turn 7 about 7-8 laps ago.
Give credit where it's due. I mean, he's still soldiering along in this race, even though that incident definitely took him out of the win. feel like if you're Sean Prime, it's a lot easier to take those corners a bit more carefully when you know that there's not an immediate challenge behind you for the race lead.
We'll see, and yes, indeed, I was going to say, we'll see if the cat and mouse game between Wesley and Prime draws the 15 to pit road, and indeed it will. Now, if you're Grant Wesley, you are relying on the fact that these fresh tires you've taken on and the outlap that you have here is going to be enough to get you that 1 to 2 car lengths that you were lacking prior to the pit stop. He's going to catch some traffic right here, and that's not ideal. Supta will move out of the way, but I think for Grant, he was hoping to have clean racetrack for this outlap.
This could come down to the wire here, as I think... Yeah, there's the 15 down and away. This is going to come down to the wire.
Oh my goodness! Oh. How about a drag race into turn 1?
They're still side by side. I think Wesley might have had to let him go a little bit through that corner just because the 15 had the preferred line, but he's on his back bumper. He's not going away.
Only one driver can take the checkered flag at the completion of this race, but I think whoever ends up winning, we got to go back to that moment coming off of pit road into turn 1. Little chrome horn right there.
Yeah, to your point, though, I mean, that could be the determining factor in this race. If Sean Prime holds on to the lead for the remainder of this thing, you'd definitely have to look back on that moment. And like you said, the frustration there is probably real for Grant Wesley, knowing that he probably wanted to have that clean outlap, but there was lap traffic in his way, and it slowed him down long enough for Sean Prime to beat him off of pit road.
Not only did he not get the race lead, but unless he gets around Sean Prime, he doesn't get that bonus point for a lap led. Sean has led every lap but one. Jim Glaude is the only other driver that has been able to snipe a lap away from driver 15.
You can tell Grant wants to make that move right there. Wants to go to the inside and try to beat him to the part of the turn right there. Beat him to the preferred line on the racetrack.
Might think that Sean has a slightly better car on the long run and trying to take advantage here while he's got the fresh tires underneath him. They will have traffic to deal with up ahead. Cy Jones, just a couple car lengths ahead of him here. They should encounter him here on the straightaway. Whoa, is Cy holding his line there. I think Sean thought that the 7 was going to go to driver's right. He still maintained up against the wall to driver's left, and quick maneuvers there by Prime to make his way by. Doesn't look like it slowed him down any, but look how Grant drives it into turn 5.
Grant absolutely sending it into turn 5, nearly side by side again.
He's there though.
Gonna have
to
the
that
preferred
left
line.
rear.
Oh, he locked up.
Oh no!
Oh!
Prime too wide to that corner, and the car is smoking after the right front into the tire barriers. And just like that, that battle for the lead goes up in smoke for the driver who had dominated the majority of the night. We mentioned it. That seemed to be his Achilles heel corner, and this time the devastating contact into those tire barriers have completely ripped the engine out of Sean Prime's car.
That is so unfortunate for Sean Prime. I mean, I was just about to mention, too, Grant Wesley had locked up in that corner right beforehand, and it looked like maybe Prime was going to be a little bit more clear for the race lead, but then, like you mentioned, that Achilles heel corner, he sent it a little bit too hard into that turn. That one big hit was all it took to send the engine up in smoke, and now Grant Wesley, he can keep it clean. He's pretty much home free.
Jim Glaude just led that previous lap. He's been on a slightly different strategy than everybody else since we went back green after the competition yellow. And there was no contact between Grant and Sean as they made their way down that long straightaway into turn 6. What did happen was when you saw Grant move to driver's left, he pretty much took an eye that Sean Prime had out the windshield, put it to the rearview mirror, and may very well have intimidated him into missing his braking zone when they approached the corner.
Again, I mean, I thought in that moment, too, it looked like Grant might have locked up as well. It looked like really slowed down. Maybe I think at the end of the day, he might have just been really hard on the brakes there, and whatever he did could have been enough to intimidate Prime. And I mean, I would probably want another look at it, but just to be
We'll go back
certain.
and take a look. I think, to your point, I think Grant broke early, because if he didn't, he was going to be into the wall as well. He had a very awkward entry to that corner, very shallow entry, and so he had to get on the brakes a lot sooner, or else he was going to miss the corner himself.
I mean, to me, in the heat of the moment, it looked like he just locked up, but he very easily could have been just really hard on the brakes.
Let's take a look from the aerial view here as they make their way down to turn 6.
Slowing down already. Right there, it looked like he locked up. Looked like he was already braking in advance, and then he locked up a little bit into that turn. That only served to slow him down a little bit more.
Just a devastating moment there for Sean Prime. This is another look at it. Oh, you can hear that lockup with the right rear. And in one of those cases, you kind of want the lesser of two evils. I think he would have been more than happy to tank slap the right side of his car into the concrete barrier just past the tires. Yes, it would have given him damage, but more than likely nothing more than aero damage. Those tires, they definitely give you the engine damage that we saw there as the end result.
One more time, I think. Yeah, again, might have been a little bit of a miscalculation there as well. Probably just realized what angle or what line that the 88 car was going to take through that corner. Ran a little bit too wide there, missed the braking zone, as you said, and his day literally and figuratively goes up in smoke.
5 drivers left on track, 5 survivors here as we are at less than 5 laps to go. Just prior to the incident we just saw there with Sean Prime over in turn 6, Jeremy Jeffries, who's had a really tough night. Of course, we saw him upside down over in the middle of turn 7 about halfway through this race. He's brought his car to the garage. The 2-time winner, the points leader coming into tonight, will get scored 7th. Sean Prime currently scored in 5th, but he will lose that spot in about 2 laps to Cy Jones. He will finish out the night in 6th position after leading a race-high 25 laps here this evening.
Now, if you're Grant Wesley, I think this is a different kind of pressure. You don't have the pressure of a car that's right in front of you that you have to gain a position on. This is more just mistake-free racing now. Can you continue to combat the racetrack the way you've been all day long, and can you make sure you keep that car in one piece? There's no pressure from anybody immediately right behind you, but at that point, you can maybe get inside your own head there, and definitely don't want to make any more mistakes here. I mean, you're only a few laps away from bringing this thing home.
Yeah, Grant's not out of the woods yet because, yes, there's nobody for him to battle, but this racetrack, as we've seen, it has played a major part into the outcome of the nights for just about everybody in the field. You can see the wounds of war sported on both sides of this Gatorade car, crumpled up as he has hit numerous walls on his path to now the race lead. So, to your point, it's all about hitting your marks, not overexerting what the car is able to do, and bring it home in as much of one piece as you possibly can.
I mean, there's no need to panic. There's no need to overthink things. Just drive it the best you can. Keep it as clean as you possibly can. If you think you're going to make a mistake, don't worry too much about it because nobody is within reach of you right now.
Might have to keep a bit of an eye here on second place. I don't know in these final 3.5 laps or so how much ground and how much car Jeff Supta has left. But that last time by, there was only about 5 seconds separation between the 72 and the 11th. So we may end up seeing a potential battle here on the podium in the closing stages of this race, albeit 20 plus seconds behind the race leader. John Godfrey, like I said, there's those drivers that have the mentality of just show up, survive, salvage the points you can. Godfrey right now, in line to net a top 5 and 4th. Cy Jones, albeit 2 laps down, in line for not only his first top 10 of the season, but his first top 5.
There you go. I mean, just show up, and if you survive for as long as you can, you never know what's going to happen. I mean, we saw a lot of drivers that could have been in contention for this thing ultimately end up wrecking out of it, and some people who thought maybe we're not going to get that great of a finish in this race, they're going to end up with top 5 points days.
We had Sean Prime in our YouTube chat after the unfortunate retirement from the race. Had tried to give Max room wide, but slid on the outside. Said it was a good show. That was a heck of a battle between him, Grant Wesley, yet Jeremy Jeffries, Jim Glaude, Jeff Supta, all up in the mix at certain points of this race. Oh, whoa!
Man,
Slide right there out of the right rear of Grant Wesley's car. And this is what we're talking about.
It absolutely is.
I know he wants to turn these laps as quickly as possible, get around to the white flag and eventually the checkered flag, but don't wreck it in the process. That battle for seconds closing up. I don't know if Jeff's got enough time. Looking at the lap time intervals between these two, Supta has been closing in a little over a half second every lap. Right now, by my calculations, he would need about 6 to 7 more laps to be able to reel Glaude in for that runner-up spot. I'm not sure he's going to have enough time.
Yeah, maybe we were 2 to go that time by. I don't think there's quite enough left in it for him to gain up that much ground there, as Wesley again flirting with that wall.
You know, you think about it too, it's looking like Grant is really pushing the car hard, but remember, he came to pit road when the window opened, so he's dealing with very worn out, blistered tires, so it may not be as much that Grant's pushing super hard, it might be the fact that he is battling a very ill-handling race car now.
Look at that slide through that corner there, through that loop area of the racetrack. I mean, this is what we talk about a lot here in the Aero88 series. We talked about it a lot last season. We're talking about it here today. Drivers battling the track and their own cars more than their opposition. Not that you're not battling your opposition, but in this specific case, if you're Grant, as he's going to take the white flag here with 1 to go, you can tell he's definitely fighting with the race car and the racetrack more than anybody else.
The flag that Grant's been looking for about the last 5 to 7 laps after he was able to take the race lead from Sean Prime. Again, remember, started this race from the 7th position, almost shotgun on the field. Was able to fight his way up through the field, eventually was able to take the race lead, and now just has to traverse, well, now 9 more corners. Is going to pancake the left side one more time for good measure there out of turn 4 before he will pick up his first win on the season. Check back here on 2nd place, and yeah, you can see the gap is closed up, but again, just not enough time. If Jim Glaude can execute perfectly the second half of this course, he'll bring it home in the runner-up spot, and Supta will bring it home final driver on the podium. Well, I have a feeling that these drivers are going to be physically and mentally exhausted once this one is over.
Definitely, this track, you know, you can definitely wear yourself down battling it out, but I think this is going to be definitely a lot of relief for Grant Wesley here as he comes down the straightaway one last time.
One last turn for home. Checkered flag in the air. Grant Wesley will pick up the victory here tonight at the Chicago Street Course. His first win on the season, and had to do so from P7, only led the final 7 laps of this race. Jim Glaude will cross the line, bringing it home in 2nd position, keeping himself up in the top 5 in the overall standings, and Jeff Supta going to bring it home, final spot on the podium. I believe, please do not quote me on this, but I believe that the race winner gets 5 bonus points, and there was 20 points separating Jeremy Jeffries and Grant Wesley coming into tonight for the points lead. Jeremy finishes out of the race in 7th. Grant finishes with the win. It's about roughly, 12 points, add in another bonus point for a lap led, 13 points. So that points lead going into the Monster Mile, it's going to shrink considerably.
Yeah, definitely not. I don't want to speak too soon. I don't want to say that the points lead has changed or anything like that. I don't know if there was enough just yet. We'll wait to see if they update the standings for us here. But yeah, it's definitely going to be in a lot of jeopardy as Grant Wesley. Again, I talked about this earlier. He's a driver that really puts pressure on others. Was doing that a lot last season, really fighting with Jeff Supta for that championship, and now putting all the pressure on Jeremy Jeffries with a win here today at Chicago.
Yeah, what was it last season? He ended up winning 4 races in a row, actually almost swept the entire month of October that had 5 dates and came up just short of that. This could maybe be the start of a win streak once again for driver 88 here in this new season.
I think that's the terrifying thing for some people as well, because Grant, he gets this win at a road course, and now we got a bunch of ovals coming up next, and Grant is very, as we know, good at the ovals as well. So this race, it showed his flexibility. We know he's good at both types of racetracks. He just kind of affirmed it here, and driver that can kind of figure out how to win anywhere, and his wins tend to come in big numbers. It can be scary to the rest of the field.
As Grant's going to make his way to victory lane. Here's a look at how they all cross the start-finish line here tonight. We'll be talking with our top 3 finishers here in just a moment. Gloud in 2nd, Supta in 3rd. John Godfrey and Cy Jones will finish a couple of laps down, but they will net top 5s in 4th and 5th. Sean Prime, who led 25 laps this evening, will have to settle for 6th, with Jeremy Jeffries, the points leader, in 7th, and Bobby Farrell, who has some very early issues, will finish out the field in the 8th position. But most will net a top 5, all will net a top 10, and most importantly, as you alluded to, with showing up tonight and at least turning some laps and getting a finish, are going to net some very valuable points that could shake up the standings going into Dover next week. That's going to take us into our FRN post-race wind down. Let's see if we can dial up some of the drivers that had to deal with the twists and turns of this street course here tonight. Let's kick things off with the driver that brings it home, P3, Jeff Supta.
User was moved to
Hey,
your
Jeff,
channel.
it's the guys up here in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yeah.
Well, man, we saw you wheeling that race car around, a throwback to a car that you drove at Riverside Park Speedway. Hopefully it fared a little bit better at that racetrack than it did here tonight. Obviously, wrong place, wrong time. We know how difficult it is to be able to maneuver around wrecks with how tight these corners are this evening, but a very interesting racetrack. We know. Talk about the adventure that you went on during the course of this race and being able to still ultimately bring it home solidly on the podium.
Yeah, I'm hurting. It takes so much to drive this track and concentrate every corner. Yeah, the first time I got a little spin from Jim, which harmless. I just straightened it out. And then, yeah, Jeremy sent me flying.
Were you surprised they were able to get that car repaired to the way that they did? Because it looked like, based off of our lap times, if you had maybe another 2 or 3 laps, we might have been talking to you tonight as the 2nd place driver.
I never fixed the car during the race. I didn't.
Wow.
You'd lose more space if you'd lose a lot more time fixing the car than just staying on the track. So yeah, I just drove super hard. And I think the second to last lap was my fastest lap of the whole race, and that car was pancaked, and I'm surprised it was still running.
Well, we saw that there were certain portions of this race where you guys actually only had 3 wheels on the ground, kind of drifting it around a couple of these corners. And we mentioned about tonight that you guys were racing with 3X. How much did tire wear, tire heat, tire grip, how did that all come into play, not only in the course of the race itself, but also in pit strategy calls?
It all depends on how you drive. If you try to drive Q laps every time, your rear tires, they turn yellow and they go away, and it's like you're on ice, and it's so easy to just come around. So you have to manage it. You have to go through the corner fast without trying to go sideways, and it was extremely hard.
Well, we certainly can hear the physical exhaustion there, and we were kind of wondering about that. It looked like you guys definitely had a workout here this evening, having to traverse this track for 35 circuits, but a great run for you here tonight, netting a podium finish, going to keep yourself in the top 5 in points, got the Monster Mile on the horizon here as this season progresses. Jeff, congratulations on the great run here tonight, surviving the mayhem there, the middle portion of this race, and before we let you go, the floor is yours for thank you, sponsors, and shoutouts.
Thanks to RTG, Sean Prime, Jeremy Jeffries, Jason Sheck, the guys who make this possible for us to be able to do this, and everybody who donates. We had a great month of donations. Seth and Jack, thank you for doing broadcasts. It's always fun.
Well, Jeff, appreciate taking the time to talk to us. Get some well-needed rest after the workout you guys had to go through, and best of luck the remainder of this season, starting next week at Dover.
All right, thanks.
Jeff Supta, who brings it home third place
User was
here
moved out of
tonight.
your channel.
Let's see if we can get a hold of the driver that brings it home P2. Style up Jim Gloud.
User was moved to your channel.
Hey, Jim, it's the guys up here in the FRM booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I do, Seth. Hi, Jack. Seth, how you guys doing?
I'll tell you what, maybe a street course. I call it a battle zone. I don't think there was a single driver out there tonight that wasn't dealing with some type of damage, some kind of battle scar before all was said and done. You got yours somewhat early on. We saw you sporting the back end damage on that number 72 machine, but it didn't look like it hurt its speed any.
It actually didn't. I was. The only thing is when you heat the tires up like that, the next corner you go to, it's like you're on ice, you know. So I don't know what was wrong with me. I spun myself out like 3-4 times.
Yeah, we caught a couple of those spins there. So when you have something like that happen with how difficult a racetrack this is, how difficult is it to adjust and find where that sweet spot is so that you, A, don't overheat the tires, and B, make sure that you safely get through these treacherous corners?
Yeah, well, once you heat the tires up, then you just got to lock it down and try not to push so hard. But at the same time, you're trying to get as fast a lap as you can, because I mean, this course, this is the first time I raced here. What a blast! But you got to get close to those protruding walls. Jeremy got a little too close there, and he caught it. And I was expecting that to happen a few times. When you're behind someone, you can't really judge it, and they get into it, and you're behind them, you're pretty much messed up. That's what happened to Jeff there. But all in all, basically, I had to slow it down and just realize I wasn't going to put any fast laps in and just try to get the mileage out of it. But at the end, spinning like I think 4 times I did it. It put me 20 seconds behind the leader.
Something else you were able to get the mileage out of was the fuel. We ended up seeing you lead a couple of laps here tonight by being able to stretch it a little bit further than some of the other drivers. Was that just in the case of backing down your pace a little bit here and making those adjustments you were talking about, or was that planned from the get-go to maybe see if you could gain some track position once everything cycled out?
Yeah, that was my plan, was to try to. I was hoping that the way the fuel on the last one went, that they were going to be short a lap. I knew I was going to be good if I extended it that one time, but it turned out they were still probably. I was good 3 laps to the good still, so they must have been good.
Well, Jim, obviously coming into tonight, running well this season, that victory at Bristol, top 5 in points, your second top 5 here tonight, a solid second place run, and it's incredible, as you say, it's a track you'd never raced at before, so an incredible feat, incredible showing for you here tonight, some great momentum going into the Monster Mile next week. Congratulations on the great run this evening, and before we let you go, we'll turn it over to you for some thank you, sponsors, and shout-outs.
Yeah, thanks again. I'd like to thank both of you for doing this, and RTG. I can't believe it. Since 2003, these guys have been going strong, and we had a small showing here, being a road course, but all in all, what a great place to come and enjoy.
Well, Jim, congratulations. A great run for you here tonight. Bring it home solidly in P2 at the road course. Best of luck the remainder of this season. And I'll say the same thing I said to Jeff. It sounds like all of you had a workout here tonight, so rest those arms.
Definitely, I'm sweating up a storm here. Thanks, guys.
Jim Gloud, he brings it home runner-up here tonight at the Chicago
User was
Street
moved out
Course,
of your
as we'll
channel.
now head down to Victory Lane and dial up tonight's race winner. His first win on the season. Let's get a hold of Grant Wesley.
User
Thanks, Jim.
was moved to your
Hey,
channel.
Grant, it's the guys up here in the FRM booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Tell you what, just about every car in the field, yours included, looks like it went through a demo derby rather than a road course race here tonight, though granted, we fully expected that. We know that this is a highly technical racetrack. The corners are very difficult to traverse. More than likely, you're going to end up with some type of damage, but you were a fighter all night long, didn't get the best of qualifying efforts, had to work your way through the field, and then ultimately a mistake by Sean gets you the race lead, and you're able to bring it home from there. But I want to go back to what we kind of dubbed the pivotal point of the race. The drag race between you and Prime after he finished the pit stop, and you guys side by sided from turn 1 all the way down that straightaway to turn 2. It was a blast for us to see up here in the booth, but how nerve-wracking was it for you as a driver knowing that the two of you basically right there were going to determine who was going to win this race?
Oh man, I was so excited coming down that straightaway. I was watching F2, and I knew it was going to be close. That was the plan. Is I wanted to pit a lap before him and kind of joker lap him. I'd have fresher tires for that one lap, and maybe it'd be just enough to edge him out. So I was watching F2. I knew it was going to be close, and I was going into that corner. I was like, I'm going to have to back this down just a little bit because I think it's going to be tight on the exit. So I did, and man, we came off the exit of that corner side by side, and that was like 7 or 8 laps to go. Sean, he's one of those guys here at RTG. He's one of the road course guys. It's very rare that you ever see him make a mistake on a road course. Man, I really wanted this win, and I was putting the heat to him, and it was hard racing. And it's not like it was just hard racing for that one lap. It was hard racing probably the second half of the race. And going into that corner, unfortunately, he missed his marks going into that one corner there and caught that tire barrier. And unfortunately, on this track, the tire barriers just blow your engine almost immediately. I hated to see that. I was having so much fun. I really would have liked to finish racing that out. But that was a lot of fun.
Jack and I prefaced this at the beginning of the night with how tight the corners are here. There's not a whole lot of optimal passing zones. A lot of times at tracks like these, if you're going to pass someone, it's when maybe they make a mistake. I documented the fact that you had to start basically shotgun in the field. You started in the last row. How much of an audible on your strategy did you have to call then, as opposed to if you had started on the pole position or even the front row?
Well, yeah. So my qualifying run, I hit the tire barrier, blew up. So that was a mistake on my part. But as far as the strategy, I just wanted to kind of make quick work of a few guys at the very beginning, and basically just pace with I knew there was the top half of the field was going to be really close on speed, and I just wanted to kind of pace with them. I was hoping to be somewhere around top 3. And after the competition yellow and kind of reset, that resets your strategy from that point on. But after Jeff, I think he fixed his damage on pit road during that, so I was able to beat him off pit road, and I was second. And I think it was a lap or 2 after that, I think him and Jim got together. So then it was just me and Sean. So after that, man, it was just keep the pressure on him.
You've had a great start to the season. You came into tonight sitting second in points, only 20 points behind Jeremy. But I kind of heard you in earnest say just moments ago that this was a race you really wanted to win. Was there some type of significance of you in this racetrack? Have you ever won here? Like, what was it particularly about this race here tonight that you really wanted to get this checkered flag?
I've actually never won here. I've ran here, I think, 2 other times. And I've had really strong runs. I really enjoy this track. It's a lot of fun for me to race on. But the reason why I really wanted to win was for the points. I've kind of had a rough start to the season a little bit. Jeremy Jeffries, he's got a pretty good lead, like you said, and I was really looking to cut into that gap a little bit for the remainder of the season.
Well, it certainly looks like you have done that. Came into tonight 20 points in arrears. You have split that in half, now only 10 points behind Jeremy heading into the Monster Mile at Dover next week. So congratulations on that. Congratulations on your first win on the season. And we'll let you get back to your celebrating in victory lane in just a moment. But before we do, we'll give you the opportunity for thank you sponsors and shout outs, Grant.
Yeah, just man, I want to give a shout out to Sean again. Like I said, he's just one of those guys. He doesn't make those kinds of mistakes. I know he's a little bit under the weather tonight, a little exhausted. He's a busy guy. We all appreciate what he does here, keeping things running. So yeah, good race. Had fun. But yeah, so I'd like to start my thank yous with Sean, Jeremy, Josh, and Jason. That's kind of the top tier here at RTG. Those guys have been running the show and behind the scenes, and they put in a lot of hours keeping this thing going. I'd like to thank all the people that's donated here. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have these broadcasts, and it's a lot of fun to watch them back. I'd like to thank the admins here on Wednesday, Jeff Supta and Ron Hagelin. They put together an excellent schedule. I enjoy running Wednesdays. FRN, thanks Jack and Seth, doing what you do. My teammates with XFM, my friends and family for watching, and my girlfriend Brittany.
Well, that is Grant Wesley. Gets to burn it down here tonight in the streets of Chicago. His first win of season 67, and looks to close up the gap even more on that points lead going into Dover next week. Congratulations on the great run here tonight, Grant. Go enjoy the victory.
Thanks, guys.
Grant Wesley becomes the
User was moved
third
out of your
different
channel.
winner so far on the season, joining two-time winner Jeremy Jeffries and one-time winner Jim Gloud. Well, Jack, we mentioned about it here tonight. We had a little bit of everything that we talked about. This racetrack all about execution and survival. Grant Wesley was able to check both of those boxes. That's why he's the one in victory lane tonight.
Did a great job of that, and we talked about the points picture as well. He have that deficit. He's only 10 points back now with Jeremy Jeffries for the points lead, and it's really, really tight behind them as well. You got John Godfrey, Jim Gloud, Jeff Supta, all right within each other. You could throw a blanket really over the top 5. This battle for the championship here in Aero88 is going to be very fun to keep up with over the course of the season.
Yeah, we also saw Cy Jones with that top 5 finish. He moved up 5 spots in the standings, so he may be able to find himself a bit of a streak and get himself up into the conversation for maybe top 5 in points in the upcoming weeks. But the road does not get any easier for these drivers. Granted, it's not as much rights and lefts anymore, as that is the only road course stop here for the season 67 Aero88 drivers, but they don't call it the Monster Mile for nothing. Next week, they're going to have to take on that mile concrete racetrack Dover. Not only that, but the 1970 version of Dover. I don't know if there's any difference in the feeling of the racetrack to then as opposed to modern day, but with it being the Aero88 cars, a lot of times they run the throwback versions of racetracks, and not only is Dover a very difficult racetrack, but it can get quite congested at times.
It absolutely can. I mean, it's called the Monster Mile for a reason. It really likes to tear up race cars, especially with the concrete surface. I mean, again, I'm not totally familiar with the difference between that version and the current day version, but I know for sure that it can be pretty relentless. These drivers are going to want to really mind their manners when they head to that racetrack.
Well, it will certainly be interesting to keep tabs on that. We are going to be bringing you 4 other broadcasts during the course of this season for the Aero88 cars. The next broadcast you'll see us covering will be February 11th, when they will be short track racing at Gateway under the lights, so be sure to join us for that. As mentioned earlier, the next time you'll see Jack and myself here in the booth, don't have to wait long. We're going to be back on Monday night, as we will be at Iowa Speedway to cover the already underway 67th season of the Rolling Thunder Gaming Barebones Racing Series. And then, of course, tomorrow night, tune in both here on FRN and Tarnation TV, our simulcast, as we continue to cover season 67 of the Rolling Thunder Gaming Talladega Challenge Series, race number 4 on the season. Will we get our 4th different winner, our 4th different driver to lock into the playoffs? We'll have to wait and see. I do believe that the bracket challenge begins tomorrow night as well. So a lot of good stuff coming up here. Appreciate everybody tuning into our coverage here tonight. Jack, appreciate you joining me in the booth. Can't wait to do this again starting next week.
Yeah, looking forward to it. It's fun to finally get back in the booth here in 2026. Looking forward to calling some fun races here over the course of these next few weeks.
Absolutely. Congratulations once again to Grant Wesley, as he's able to pick up the checkered flag here tonight at the Chicago Street Course. We thank you all for tuning to our coverage here tonight. For Jack Mitchell, I'm Seth Cole. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday evening, folks, as you've been watching another broadcast courtesy of FRN, the Flatout Racing Network.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of Flatout Racing Network and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Flatout Racing Network and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations. Flatout Racing Network would like to thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast.